What's up, people? This is DJ.
Hey, mi gente, this is Ish.
And this is season 2 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Salsa, mi salsa es caliente, la miel de mi fuente goza y baila mi gente.
Yes, a book about beanstalks and whatever.
Marie the Baguettes.
Marie the Baguettes. Hurry up.
I never saw the live action.
Neither did I.
No? Because that's one of your favorites.
It is my favorite. If I would have seen the live action, let's be honest, it would have been with you.
Fair enough. Oh. Poor Emma Watson.
Okay, so when are we starting?
Already there.
Oh my God, you always catch me. Damn it. I mean, that Dateline has a podcast.
I think everybody has a podcast nowadays.
Well, literally, clearly they do. With that said, everybody, welcome to episode 76. Here we are.
Welcome.
76. Oh man, we're 24 away from 100.
Oh, yeah. That sounds so triple digit.
Well, it is. I think about our first. Well, we'll think about our first when we reach our 100th anniversary retrospective.
Oh, we're going to have a retrospective?
Of course we are.
We should do it like on sitcoms where they're like, remember when? Oh, yeah, and then you. And then we do like a little musiquita. And it goes like,
I think that's harder to replicate on audio. I always thought in those episodes of sitcoms,
Challenge accepted.
Did they get paid the same?
Because they did less work.
Like, how was their table read?
I have such a quick table read. Especially the Golden Girls ones, because all those recollection episodes were always around the table for the cheesecake. So they didn't even change scenes.
Anyway, everybody, welcome to episode 76. Here we are.
Willkommen. Bienvenue. Welcome.
Oh, my God. And I know we say this a lot, but that's it. It's August. Summer
Labor Day.
On its way out. Well, I mean, Labor Day means the end of the summer for the rest of the country, not for us.
Well, but it means the end of the summer for us in the sense of like, you know, yeah, people have to start school and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, like it's symbolic ending.
Yeah. Like starting school and all that. And, you know.
Oh, you got to go back into your early morning routine.
I don't want to talk about that. Anyway. So I have to say that this week we posted something on our Instagram page that I didn't think was going to get that much traffic, and it did. Apparently, people were very into the Fontainebleau mural.
Oh yeah, I had no idea that was going to get us so much like reaction, so much engagement.
I posted it because I thought it was a little bit like cute, like, oh, remember the Fontainebleau mural, you know? But you know what? It's one of those nostalgic things.
I think we even gained like 10 new followers.
It's one of those like nostalgic things that like, you know, maybe you don't even think about. Well, I do because, you know, I have the memory of an elephant and it's me. Right, and, you know, I could be a curator of some sorts.
Do it.
But for a lot of, you know, most people, most mortals.
Oh, are you immortal? Is that
well, when it comes down to that stuff, you know, I'm a total.
You're like a demigod for that.
I could, you know, it's like really weird. This is like really weird.
If you're going to say it, I've
done this. I've like gone to International Mall. And I've like gone store by store and tell you this is what was here in 1985 when the mall like was in its infancy.
And who were you giving this tour to?
I will give it to anybody who will listen. Yes.
So there's just a lot of like Asian tourists that are held captive.
The last store, not counting the anchor stores, but the last store in International Mall. I mean, obviously this is only relevant if you're a local of Miami. The last store of International Mall to like stand proud.
Was Sears, no?
No, not including the anchor stores.
Oh.
To be of the original like lineup of stores was Copy's Uniform by Sears.
That's not there anymore.
No, it recently closed.
Oh, it's funny you say that. The other day, this other Instagram handle, Only in Hialeah, which, you know, we talk about Hialeah a lot on this podcast,
really?
Just a little bit. But they posted this whole retrospective on their stories about Westland Mall.
Oh, yeah.
Like a whole retrospective.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. Who knew?
That Hialeah page.
Only in Hialeah.
Yes, yeah. Only in Hialeah. So a shout out to Only in Hialeah.
It's Only in Hialeah 305. Yeah.
Whoever writes that page
knows their shit.
I mean, I've like texted him. I'm like, listen,
or
because,
her. We don't know.
Because you know I'm a total geek when it comes down to history, and
that's your thing.
I'm that person. But I'm like, I've read stuff that I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever curates that page and like they really know their stuff.
They know their Hialeah.
They know their stuff, but it's like very well written and all that. So for those listeners who want to take time travel back to Hialeah, no, I mean seriously, we poke a lot of fun of Hialeah, but Hialeah actually has a very rich history.
Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band is from Hialeah.
I was gonna say more that El Hipódromo,
Well, I'm sure he played
the
there.
track brought presidents and dignitaries from around the world, but that was kind of the route that I was going.
Whatever, but did they make a little love and tell us to get down tonight? I don't think so.
Oh my god. Anyway, and that's what we're talking about in episode 76.
There are worse things to talk about than Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Anyway, so speaking of worse things to talk about, I wanted to start with kind of this is not a fun topic, but kind of definitely a Latin-based conversation.
Okay.
So it's funny because I was, when I was thinking this week of stuff to come up, that I wanted to discuss in the podcast, usually some of my sources are, things I see online and like either NBC or whatever.
Well, and now that the dispute is over between CBS Sunday Morning.
Oh my God, yes.
It's back in your life.
Yes. CBS Sunday Morning will be back in my life, and The View is returning September 3rd.
So
I will be
all is
whole
well.
again.
All is well.
So I saw this article, and then I looked it up and read more on it about an Air Force member being called, quote, distasteful for speaking Spanish while in uniform.
Distasteful.
Yes. So here's what happened. So Ciara Mercado she's in the Air Force and she was in uniform.
Okay.
And she was at a Starbucks. I mean, apparently things go down now in Starbucks.
Who knew? Who knew that little bare-breasted mermaid was such an
that was going to be
instigator?
the hotbed of social
social reform.
Yes, I mean Starbucks. She was in Starbucks.
Okay.
And there was a lady who went up to her and told her that you're speaking another language that does not represent America, and that uniform you're wearing, in that uniform that you're wearing, that is very distasteful.
Who was she speaking to?
The woman went up to tell her that.
No, but who was
she
the
was
Air
on
Force?
the phone there. She was on the phone.
In other words, it was none of your fucking business who I'm talking to.
She was on the phone with a relative
Again,
or something.
None of your fucking business.
And the woman went on to say, I don't know how you are allowed to wear that uniform. Right? So this is because she... Wait, hold on.
Se me está hirviendo la
This is
sangre.
because she was...
Me da el
She... Not while we're recording the podcast.
Me siento flutter.
So and listeners, he's not kidding. So this is while she was on the phone, maybe with a family member or whomever.
Whomever she
was
felt
speaking
like
Spanish.
it.
So basically, she was told that it was distasteful for her to be speaking Spanish on the phone while she was wearing her uniform. Mm-hmm. And again, the woman said you should not be allowed to wear that uniform because you're speaking Spanish. Mind you.
What did Sierra
So
tell her? Did she say this beat is
she
automatic,
is
funky,
Puerto
fresh?
Rican.
Okay, which is
So
American.
she's an American citizen.
Right.
So, the woman, obviously, it's all in retrospect. The woman was like, I wear it proudly. And that was kind of her response. She didn't really get into...
She didn't stoop to this bitch's level
Right,
like I'm gonna.
She didn't. But, obviously... It goes to, this goes to a lot of what we've been talking about, a lot of, now all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but it's come to the forefront or a lot
It's become more
pronounced and
more
louder, observed of, these comments that are being made, over Hispanic centrist thing. Coincidentally, so I had this in mind to bring it up as a topic this week anyway. Coincidentally, today on my personal Instagram, I come across this post of somebody who I've been following for years. And
somebody you actually know, or just somebody who you
no,
follow?
Somebody that I follow. I don't really know him, but I've been following him for years. So I guess I know him via Instagram.
Right, exactly.
Right?
But it's not somebody who you know.
Which I actually did not know that he's part Hispanic, but he's part Colombian.
Okay.
And he posted a picture of himself
Go get it, Maluma.
with a Goya.
Oh,
we love Goya.
We do.
A Goya.
Bueno, because si es Goya, tiene que ser bueno.
Of course. With a Goya coconut water. Did you hear what I was saying?
You were going to say coconut water. A coconut water.
With a Goya coconut water can. And he in his post was explaining how obviously because he's part Colombian, he grew up, coconut was like very staple in his
it's just something
household.
that was there.
Goya obviously is a staple of any good Hispanic household.
Even some bad ones.
And he lives, I think, in upstate New York, and he was saying how when he was paying for, or buying the coconut water at his local supermarket, there was this old woman who kept looking at him kind of like weirdly, and she finally said, he put it in here, "I bet that tastes like shit." and his answer was, "Don't knock it till you try it." But then he puts on here on his post that like after he was like, why did she say this to me? Like, why do you think, what prompted her? If I would have been buying, the fancy Rihanna coconut water, would that have been okay?
Right.
I forgot the brand of the Rihanna.
Isn't it Coco Viva?
Coco Viva, but coconut water kind of made like a comeback.
Yeah, there was
a few years ago.
and everybody had their own
brand.
brand.
He was thinking, was this like racist? Was she like looking at because it was Goya,
or does she just not like coconut water?
So like little comments like that.
But why did she feel the need to go up to somebody and say that? Like,
well, but that goes to what we're talking about.
But regardless of whether it was Goya or
but that goes to
what
what we're talking about. Like, he thought like, was it the Hispanic thing? Because Goya is clearly a Latin brand, and everybody knows that.
Correct.
So again, if it would have been another coconut water brand, would she have been like? Whatever, because it's not, it's not a Latin brand. So that goes with, with the story I was talking about, the lady in the uniform in her military gear, that, is this something that we're seeing? I mean, we clearly are seeing it more, but
I've told you before, I don't know if it's that we're seeing it more or we're seeing it more because also we have more social media and everybody's videotaping things. So whereas before, maybe it was happening as much before, but we didn't have the equipment to record it as it's happening where we do now.
Or people maybe weren't as vocal before.
Right. No, or maybe they were, but now you've got this, you've got a camera.
But I guess the question is, do you really believe that people nowadays, and because to me that's a form of racism.
I don't
Do you believe that people are just more blatant about their racism? Because that's something that we've talked about here on the podcast over and over and over again. Whether it's against, black people, gay people, Hispanic people. Do you feel that people are now just more blatant and open and proud of their racism?
They're just proud of their ignorance. I'm gonna expand the circle. They're proud of their ignorance, and it's, I saw something either today or yesterday, which was, if you speak English and Spanish, you can speak to 80% of the world's population.
Okay, English and Spanish, yeah.
Why would you not want to expand your horizons? You know what I mean? Why would you not want to, explore other things? There's always been mira, llame cerrado siempre ha existido. There's always been people who can't, and let's not even go down that route. There's always people who will tell you, even amongst our own people, who's like, no, pero yo no sé por qué tú viajas tanto, total. Si yo aquí, yo voy, So, I mean, it's not, being that closed-minded in general is nothing, it's not a white thing. But to your point, I think that we are in a place right now where when you have certain people in positions of power, administrative, whatever, who are just kind of coming out there and just being like, oh, those people are sons of bitches. And this is, the president of the United States. Well, then if somebody at that level is just going to go off and, quote unquote, tell it like it is, as they like to, people like to say, well, then why can't I?
Yeah. I mean,
right.
This is one of those things. This is one of those things that like, people that support the president are going to say, well, people that are racist, and the president didn't make them racist. I agree with that. Yeah. I don't think anybody can make somebody a racist.
You are or you aren't.
You either are a racist or you're not.
You're either left-handed or you're not.
Man, mira, I've tried to be right-handed because we live in a right-hand world, but it doesn't happen.
Those desks.
That's trapper keepers.
Oh yeah, you could never have one.
I would buy my trapper keeper only for looks.
Oh.
And I even had the designer series, remember?
You would just store stuff in it.
Yeah, I would just store stuff in it. And I had my designer series was the one with like the big wave in the front.
Oh yeah. The classic one.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think the president or the administration has made anybody racist, but I think that again, when you have from the top, you have somebody saying go back to where you came from.
Right.
You have somebody, not stopping white supremacists right when they say something.
Right. It's not stopping rhetoric. Right.
Immediately, not distancing themselves immediately. That's a very dangerous and very
As subtle as you want to paint it, it doesn't help.
because you also have to remember that a lot of people that are I'm not going to say a very bold statement. People that are racist are stupid.
Well, by the 3 racist listeners we had, sorry to lose you.
No, seriously, I would like to think that people that are racist are not level-headed or
Right.
rationally think or process things.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like casual old people racism either.
Yeah, casual people.
No, you know what I mean? Like, casual old people racism, like when you're driving through like a bad neighborhood, they're like, pon el pestillo en el carro porque tú sabes. And then they like,
¿Qué pasa, USA racism?
They do that thing where they rub their finger on their hand, like, to denote. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like,
Okay, but that's still pretty bad.
but we're talking about steeped in like, they don't deserve to live racism.
Racism. I see racism as racism.
But you know what I mean. Like,
I think that there's people that because of their generation and where they
That's
came
where I'm
from,
coming from, thinking.
we can't.
expect them to join us.
Well, it's not that. Yes and no. Yes
at the
and no.
same level as quickly.
Yes and no, because I know a lot of people that are very old that are not racist.
That's not true. Kidding. I'm kidding.
I do. I know a lot of people that are very old that are not racist.
All old people are racist. Avenue Q has taught us anything, it's that.
No, I don't believe that. But the point is, oh my God, you and your nonsense. You made me fall off the train. Derail myself in this serious conversation. No, I just think that when it's coming from the top, go back to your country. He goes to these rallies and people are chanting things that are inappropriate. I mean, they always put the video of John McCain when that lady called Barack Obama
a
Muslim or an Arab, that she was
yeah.
afraid of him. And John McCain was like, no, he's a decent man. He's a decent family man and a good person that, I just have different political
disagree
opinions.
with, yeah.
It's like that was in 2008 and that could have been like 20 lifetimes ago because we're so far removed from that time.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crazy.
But I mean, I just think that it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible that this is where we're at now. And I mean, I think that
what's the worst part about that whole situation with the lady in the Air Force? Again,
that she's Puerto Rican.
well, there's
and,
that.
She's American.
There's that. But it's ultimately, I do know also that, once you're in the military, you're trained to always, maintain your composure, respect, etc. Because, that's kind of drilled into you. But had this woman had what I think would have been a natural reaction from any of us to turn around and just be like, well, I think it's disrespectful of you to be such a bitch or whatever, she would have pulled out the camera, and then it would have become, servicewoman disrespects citizens. You know what I mean? It would have... The rhetoric, the storyline would have become, this is why we can't let these people serve you also have to, you can't even give them a taste of their own medicine because then you become the reason that they said it. See, I'm right.
There was this video of this woman probably like a month or two ago that went viral that she was... They were in line somewhere. The woman was in line somewhere, and in front of them were these 2 black ladies. I don't know if it's that she got annoyed that the 2 black ladies were... I don't know what annoyed her. I don't know that they were talking loud or something annoyed her, right? So she started having words with the ladies, And obviously, in the day of video phones,
right.
Somebody started recording it. And an altercation arose between the 2 of them, and it was being recorded. And the 2 black ladies were like whatever.
They were sassing it up.
They were like, whatever,
Yeah.
And they were going back and forth until the white woman throws out the N-word. And the 2 black ladies were like, oh, you went there. Yeah, she threw out the N-word. So then... she gets interviewed.
And we know black people hate being called narcoleptics.
Man, stop it. This is not a joking matter. The white lady gets interviewed by the local news.
Okay.
And the reporter was like, listen, I mean,
Regardless of what happened,
yeah.
you
used probably one of the most offensive
words, yeah.
and most disgusting words that exist to, refer to somebody. Like,
right.
And I mean, don't you like think you should have not used that word? And she goes, no, because I was provoked. And that's how they were acting. So no, I don't like. She stood very proudly over the fact that she used the N-word, and it's like that's the type of stuff that I just, how rational I am. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how anybody thinks it's okay to use that word. How anybody thinks it's okay to tap somebody on the shoulder and be like, "Sweetheart, you're speaking Spanish in
not me."
In an American military uniform, and that's distasteful. How anybody will tell you, stop what they're doing and tell you that must taste like shit. Referring to the coconut water. Those are the things that I just don't understand. Like, why the negativity? Like, what? Why do you have to stop what you're doing to go and offend someone?
Because these are miserable human beings, and they're not happy unless everyone in the world is as miserable as they are. The majority of these people are upset for whatever reason about the miserable shithole lives that they live, and so when they see somebody else that they can just rag on, well, guess what? They're going to jump at it. And then now your day is shot to shit, and so guess what? Ahora tú estás as upset and as pissed off and miserable as they are.
Mm-hmm. If I was, as I think we mentioned it in the last episode, if I was the lady in the uniform, I would have told her, sweetheart, the United States doesn't have an official language. Why don't you go check on that? Have a nice day.
Yeah. Google that, sweet cheeks.
Google that. That's what I would have told her.
Smooches. Or I would have been like, besos.
Incredible. Like, it's incredible to me. It's incredible to me. Okay. How do I explain this? How do I explain this?
There are genuine. I've seen genuine things happening that bother me that I don't go up to and make a comment about.
Okay, I would think this is me and my rationale.
Sí, pero es que that's a problem. Ya está empezando mal.
I would think that if I'm going to be a defender of the U.S. and everything the U.S. stands for in American culture, American society, American history, blah blah blah, I would know my shit, right? Right? Because if you're going to defend it and you're going to be like that, up against balls to the wall about it, at least know, right? The fact that a good majority of Americans don't know that Puerto Rico is an American territory of the United States and therefore they're American citizens, right? That blows my mind. It's like, how many Americans know the five, do you know them?
Rico?
The five.
So it's Puerto Rico, it's Guam?
Yes. There's one we go on a cruise to.
Saint.
You're getting there.
Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm stumped. Aruba's not one of them.
No.
I don't think Trinidad or Tobago.
American Samoa.
Oh, there's an American Samoa?
There's
French.
an American
See, I always think of French Samoa.
There's an American
Because I always
Samoa.
think of the cookies.
And the Mariana Islands.
Oh, I don't even know where the hell that is.
By the Mariana Trench.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I knew 3 out of 5.
Okay.
It's more than most people.
Well, you at least know Puerto Rico, which is
I know it's the big one, right?
It's the
right,
big one.
right.
It's right next to the United States.
Correct.
And J-Lo's from there. I mean,
well, that's true. J-Lo, Mark Anthony, Ricky Martin, really all the best.
Yeah, I mean the best.
It really is. Yeah, they gave us menudo.
I know, right? So many wonderful things.
Things.
That's why it's La Isla del Encanto.
Es verdad, they gave us La Isla Bonita.
Nope. La Isla Bonita is not about Puerto Rico.
It's not.
Hello, did you just fall from the tree?
Catch me as I fall, please.
No, La Isla Bonita is not from any specific island.
Oh, really?
Nope.
But it was filmed there.
I don't know if it was filmed there, but the song is not from any island.
Really?
Yeah, I know. She kind of like messed it up for me too when she said that. No.
Look at Madonna being all sneaky. Mm-hmm. Oh.
So
It's probably
yeah,
underneath her eye patch.
Oh my god, this Madam X persona of hers. I'm waiting for the next persona.
Well, there's a lot of them. She's a cha-cha instructor. She's a teacher. She's a spy. Maybe one of them she'll
She's
be
a prostitute.
No, maybe one of them she'll be an HR manager.
As we were saying last week, with a name like Madonna, you can't be an HR manager.
but that'd be great.
Or Madonna from accounting.
For her next, the next single, it's just her in business suits, lots of polyester.
So anyway, You've diverted me so much from this like serious topic.
Well, because a little levity goes a long way.
No, but this is a serious topic.
I agree with you. I'm not taking away from the seriousness of it.
I don't know. It's incredibly disappointing.
That's distasteful.
It's incredibly disappointing and just it's disgusting.
Whatever happened to polite society? Remember when it was like impolite to talk about, religion, politics, and you know what I mean? Like you kind of like there were certain topics you just didn't bring up because you didn't want to have arguments. You didn't, you there were other things. I think
that nowadays it's a collision course of social media and the president.
Well, 24
because social media, as we always say, is the best thing. The best thing about social media is that it gave everybody a voice. The worst thing is that it gave everybody a voice. There are a lot of people on social media who go onto social media just to be critical of things.
Oh yeah,
right,
just
and to say it as it is.
Yeah.
So that aligned with an administration that says it like it is. No matter who they're offending, says it like it is. Whatever.
I hate when people say that shit because it's like, I'm just telling it like it is. And then it's like, okay, I'm telling it like it is too. You're an asshole.
Speaking of the administration, there's something I wanted to bring up because I thought it was kind of cute. So, hold on.
Did Kellyanne Conway get a puppy?
That would work wonders for her.
That can't go any further. Just like I love how critical her husband is of the administration.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Thanksgiving dinner in that house must be great.
Ugh, you thought you had it bad.
So, do you know that an official photographer, I believe it's an official White House photographer who is apparently no longer working for the White House after this.
Oh, God. What did he catch?
Admitted that the inauguration pictures of Donald Trump were altered.
Pero que Helen Keller could tell you that. I mean...
I just think it's so funny that he admitted that. Because do you remember,
that was such a thing.
That was such a thing. And it's like, who cares?
Who cares?
Whether you had the biggest turnout ever or the smallest, who cares?
You're still president.
Who cares?
That's
and Sean Spicer was there on day one. It is the largest, inauguration that has ever been viewed in humanity. And it's like, okay, right off the bat, we're coming up with, shit.
If only we knew then that was the tip of the iceberg.
It's so funny.
I would pay for those days to come back.
It's so funny that a couple of weeks or whenever it was that she said it, that Kellyanne Conway coined alternate facts. So I watched Meet the Press.
That was a while back.
Yeah, I watched Meet the Press on Sundays, right? But as you can imagine, because CBS Sunday Morning predominated.
So you were just like staring at a blank screen for a while.
So Meet the Press and all these other political shows on Sundays, I DVR them because I'm watching CBS Sunday Morning.
Right.
That above all else, right? So, but that day, something told me, you should watch this live today.
Oh God.
I recorded CBS Sunday Morning. I'm like, a little voice inside of me was like, you should watch it live today. And
Jane Pauley today.
And I did watch it live. And I'm like, wait, did Kellyanne Conway just say alternative facts? Wait, is this a thing? Like, I remember thinking like, she just said alternative facts. Like, when you catch something and you think you're the only one who caught
and
it.
You're like, no, I couldn't have heard what I just heard. Because that means that I heard something that was just innocuous.
So yeah, I mean, he says that the pictures were cropped in a way to make it look like there were more people there.
Okay, so it wasn't so much that they photoshopped it per se.
No, it was cropped in a certain way.
It's just they basically cropped the excess.
Right. And I'm like, again, who cares? And secondly, it's like, this is so like 1984, the book. Let me refer to the book.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, I'm like, I don't remember Reagan being this obsessed.
No, this is so like 1984, like changing history. But it's okay because his people are going to love him no matter what we say.
Why can't people admit when they're wrong? I mean, just why? Why?
Anyway, how's everybody doing? Are you enjoying your drive?
Yeah, I mean, they're better than Epstein.
Bueno. Oh my God, that whole situation.
So guys, and you're hearing it here first. I have the real scoop on what happened. So Trump actually has a secret phone that he uses to keep in touch with Hillary. And he called her up, and together they actually went to Area 51, broke out Alf and E.T., and went to the prison and killed Epstein.
when they went to the prison, did they take the spaceship from Flight of the Navigator?
They tried.
But they couldn't get into it.
They couldn't get into it. It was
Not
in the
even said
shop.
compliance.
Right. So instead, they went with the one from the last Starfighter because it was a little sleeker, stealth, and they were able to get in. And then they took.
While they're at it, they should have gone on a pirate ship, taken the one from One-Eyed Willie and the Goonies, and
Total.
nobody was gonna notice.
Total. Yeah. Nobody would have figured it out.
And it would have been huge.
I mean, look, I'm not going to mourn for the man. He was a piece of shit. But I have never seen so many people running to a conspiracy theory as I have with this.
I don't know too much about it in terms of his suicide.
Correct.
Right.
I mean, well,
I don't know
because-
too much about it to discuss it.
Correct.
At
No.
length here.
Well, actually, I wasn't even going to talk about that. I'm just talking about, to your point of earlier, doesn't it just seem like everybody is all into conspiracy theories lately?
Oh my God, yes. Bueno, but we've talked about this on here before.
Like now everything is a conspiracy theory. And
Yeah.
depending on which side you fall under, Hillary had him killed. Trump had him killed.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. No, Ahorita's going to be, Rita Ora had him killed.
See, the other day I was speaking to somebody and we were talking about like a bit of a heated topic, and he's like, "Where do you get your news from?" I'm like, "Multiple news sources."
As you should.
As you should.
Listeners, as you should. If you're only getting yours from one place.
And I was like, I'll tell you
not
who I
good.
don't get my news from is Facebook. And I was like, and honestly, I check it from multiple sources. And one of the sources that I value the most is the BBC, because I like to see what an international and foreign news story,
kind of that they're removed.
organization has to say about things going on in the U.S. So I even get it internationally. He's like, "Oh, I don't trust any news source," and I'm like, "Okay,
So then where the hell do you get
so
your
where
news
do you
from?
get your news from?" "Oh, I get it from websites," and I'm like,
but
okay, but websites can be just
Are they
as
sourced?
skewed. Right, websites, I mean, but is it like op-eds or stuff like that? So it's like, okay, I've always believed this. The media certainly has a bias.
Of course.
And it could have a bias. And honestly, even though I'm, a liberal and I'm a Democrat, I've always thought that the media has a little bit of a left-leaning bias. I do believe it does. But there's a difference between having a bias and having like a
Just
complete
outright lie.
fabrication of something.
Right, alternative facts.
Alternative facts, like, fiction, total fiction. And it's like, okay, so where are your conspiracy theories coming from? Oh, so yeah, Scientology. Okay, anyway.
Oh, no. Oh, Leah Remini. That show's coming to an end.
Bueno, eventually it was going to have to end.
No, yeah. They're
it's-
ending it with like a 2-hour series finale, like with a bunch of experts and psychologists and all that.
They should do a musical number.
Oh my God. I want that to happen now. They all just come out and they're like, Xenu, Xenu. And then they lower L. Ron Hubbard from the heavens.
Did I tell you the time I ended up in the Church of Scientology?
Nope, but now you're gonna.
So we were in Chico, the beach by Tampa.
St. Pete?
No,
Gulf?
the Clearwater. We
Oh,
were in Clearwater, and it was one of the David Cook
Oh, okay.
outings.
Yeah.
And it was really cold. It was like really, really cold that night and windy. And it was in downtown, like Clearwater or downtown.
Were they offering cider and hot chocolate?
So yes, they were. It was actually freezing. It was really cold, and I just went in like a long sleeve T-shirt.
Right.
Because I'm like, me, I never
It's
get
Florida,
cold.
yeah.
No, and I never get cold. So all you girls like with scarves and all that stuff, whatever. And there I was.
You and your things to prove
And
that to nobody but yourself.
Well, you know that I'm never cold.
Well, this is true. Your house is like the friggin' tundra.
But I'm always hot, right?
No, yes, I
So
know.
I was like, okay, it's a little chilly, whatever. And then when we get there, we sit down. I'm like, oh my God. It was like in the 40s with like wind, right?
Okay, the wind is what kills you.
And I'm like, okay, I need to find a like store really quick and buy one of those like stupid scarves that they sell in like the little plastic bags that are made in China. Whatever. I need to find something. And I couldn't find anything. And I was like freezing. And the Church of Scientology, because I didn't know it was based in Clearwater.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They had a very beautiful building there, right there where the concert was happening. And they had like refreshments and hot tea and hot beverages in this beautiful lobby where they had all their material on like Dianetics and all that stuff. So I'm like, you know what?
That's how they get you.
I'm coming in because I want those lemon cookies, those lemon drop cookies.
Were they good?
They were so good.
Scientologists are great bakers.
They were lemon drop cookies with like the white icing.
Oh, like lemon bars?
Yes. Oh my god, they were so good. So I'm like, I will shut my mouth and eat your cookies and your tea.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leo Remini, but that sounds delicious.
Yeah, they were very inviting.
Well, that's how they get you.
They didn't get no. I ate their cookies, I drank their tea, and I got the hell out of there.
But you didn't drink the Kool-Aid. That's
I
the
did
difference.
not drink the Kool-Aid.
Right.
Nope. Oh, nice.
Right.
Oh boy. So
Well, that's where they get you.
so I want to bring something up.
Okay.
That this is like a twofer.
Ooh, I love a bargain.
It's something negative.
Oh, damn it.
So
We were just talking about lemon bars.
it's a little bit with something that you've talked about before
Okay.
about clickbait.
Ugh.
And I want to talk about clickbait, but then I want to talk about the article that I was baited to.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So if I read this to you,
Okay.
tell me what you think the article is going to be about. Okay?
All right.
Community group opposes museum for Pulse nightclub massacre.
I mean, that there's somebody who does not want a museum to be erected for Pulse. The inference probably being that there's some type of anti-LGBT overtones.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Okay.
I thought, oh, community group.
Right.
When you think community group, especially, something Pulse, right?
Right,
That's
right,
LGBT
right.
oriented. That's exactly what you think. I go, oh, here you go.
The Westboro Baptist Church or whatever.
Whatever family values,
Say,
whatever group
Million
is
Moms
opposing,
or whatever.
The building of a memorial. That's what I thought too.
Okay.
And it wasn't at all.
What was
so, well,
So
let's talk
what
about it
was
when we talk about the article.
Okay,
Because I want to focus on the clickbait.
Okay.
So I know you mentioned this before. What are we our take on this stupid clickbait? Because this clickbait thing,
Here's the problem.
it's funny because you were one of the first people that mentioned it to me. Like, I kind of knew what it was, and I knew it was happening, and I would see it, but
You
I
know
guess
how
I
to
didn't have a
you-
term
right,
for
you
it.
know the term,
And
yeah,
you were, I
yeah.
think, the first person who told me that term, and now it's like everything is clickbait. It's clickbait.
So here's-
and what I find is that the clickbait is so off
Yeah.
of what it actually is.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna put on my my advertising hat, as it were. So, what's happening right now, and this is gonna sound probably a little dry. So, listeners, I apologize. Obviously, media is more fragmented than ever. So, what does that mean? That for advertisers, it's harder and harder for them to get people to see their message. Now, in the digital space, you see all these ads that are on any website that you go to, right? Any website you go to has, all the ads and what have you. In the beginning, with digital, in order to buy those ads, you would have to go to each respective site and buy them. Nowadays, they have something that's called programmatic buying, which is essentially where what we'll do is we'll set up a profile and we'll say, I have client X. I want to target adults 18 to 49 who like cars, have pets, vacation twice a year, blah, 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 blah. Then it goes out and it searches for these people. And what happens is that now it's going to serve, and it's through Google, it'll serve an ad on any website out there. So what happens? If you don't serve an ad on your site, you don't get paid. Now, if you don't have people going to your site, you can't, the page doesn't load, you can't serve an ad. So what happens? All these other sites, I'm talking like smaller sites, but even some of the bigger sites are guilty of it as well. They want people to go so that the ad can be served, so the pixel will fire, the ad will be served, and then they can make money. So that's why you see a lot more clickbait now.
Yeah, but
that people will go and they can make money.
But I could understand from an advertising perspective. But the clickbait that really bothers me are these headlines.
But that's what I'm saying.
Because
those
this
headlines exist because they have to get you to click on something.
That's like when we talked about Mario Lopez. Mario Lopez does not support
the trans community.
Mario Lopez says that parents who support transgender kids, it's dangerous for parents to support transgender children.
That's not what he
That's
said.
not what he said at all. Right. And there I was clicking on the being like, oh, Mario Lopez, how can you say that? And I'm like, but that's not what he said at all. That's not what he said.
Right.
And that was from a big,
that's
reputable
what I'm saying.
news
It's not
source.
just these niche
And
sites.
again, like I read this thing from Pulse, and I'm like, I thought the same thing you did. I'm like, okay, here comes
See, who has
the
a problem?
ultra-conservative
Okay.
organization saying that,
The children.
the children, save the children. The memorial of these people that were slaughtered. That memorial is going to,
Affect the
destroy our
children.
children. Our children. That's exactly what I thought. And then I read the article. I'm like, but this is so not what the article's about. So it's just it's really
Excuse me.
it's really annoying, and I guess this goes into play with todo that we talk about the news nowadays, and
Yeah, I mean, everybody's fighting for their attention, and unless you have viewers, readers, visitors to your site, you can't make money, and ultimately, it's about the advertising dollars. And as horrible as that may be to say out loud, that's what it comes down to.
do you know? I'm sorry, because this is your industry.
Oh, I don't have any
Do you
secret
know
cows.
that I think advertising does not affect me? And if it does very little.
There's something to be said for what you're saying. There's something to be said for the opposite. I'll never forget that there was a professor I had at UM who said, advertising can only do so much. If you advertise to someone who does not like a product, you can expose them to that message for 24 hours. They are not going to buy your product. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I can see as many commercials for Dr. Pepper in the world. I can think, wow, it's a great commercial. Wow, what a catchy jingle. Oh, yeah, the Dr. Pepper, what? But I'm not going to buy Dr. Pepper.
Right.
I don't like how it tastes. You're not going to reach me. So there's-
but I also, with me personally, with advertisement, is that I always know they're trying to get me.
true, but I think a lot of
Like
the
I
times,
catch it. I'm like, they're trying to get me.
a lot of the times with advertising, though, it'll be there's something to be said about awareness. Sometimes you're not aware a new product has come out into the market, or you're not aware of a new flavor or something, or what have you. So there's that, because you don't always necessarily make a purchase right away either from when you're exposed to advertising. So if I'll use Coke as the example, when they came out with that orange vanilla flavor, I actually wound up trying it, but it's not like I heard it the first time and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go try it, but I knew it existed because I saw the advertising.
Right.
So
I know that on
it's
Instagram.
a little more subtle.
I know that on Instagram, every fourth post is a
Sponsored.
Sponsored. I don't even look at it.
The funny thing
sorry.
is, sometimes I do look at it, because sometimes it'll be a product that I'm interested in.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. And anything that comes out on my screen, I know, because I know they're trying to get me.
No, fair enough. I'm not saying that I don't know they're trying to get me, but sometimes it'll be a product that actually piques my interest.
Nope. I mean,
Like, it'll be a store that sells like comic book statues or something like that, and so I'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
I mean, I'm
And
not
I'll-
saying that there's never been an instance
Right,
where
right.
I've fallen for it, but I seldom
But see, that's
do.
the thing. You're saying fallen for it. I'm saying there have been instances where I'm scrolling through and I'll see something that interests me. I know it's an ad, but it does pique my interest, because I'm like, oh, this is something that I may want to buy, or oh, that looks cool. It's not that they didn't trick me. You know what I mean? I know it's an ad.
Yeah, well, trickery.
Trickery.
Bueno, let's get to the second part.
Yes. So tell me about the article itself.
So the actual article, and I thought this was like a relevant kind of issue that we could talk about. So the community group opposes museum for Pulse nightclub massacre. The community group is a group of people who want the site to be turned into a memorial,
Not a museum.
not a museum. So what's happening is that
Wow, that's so not the same thing as what that headline.
Exactly.
Like, at
exactly.
all.
I read the article twice because I'm like, am I missing something? Because like this is not what I thought it was going to be. So there's the Pulse organization. I forget the actual name, but it's the nonprofit that was created by the owners of Pulse
Right.
to collect money to open up a memorial and a museum.
I mean,
So this is what's
okay,
going
okay,
on.
okay,
It's
okay,
a memorial and a museum.
Okay.
Obviously, for the museum, there'll be an admission charge. Okay.
enough.
The owners, again, of that nonprofit are the former owners of Pulse, which are being sued by several of the victims' families
Really?
for bad security for
Insufficient, whatever.
security
All right.
at the night of the shooting.
Ay, qué horror.
And they're opening up, their proposals to open up a memorial. And I don't know if they're going to demolish the club. Have you been to the site?
No.
I've been to the site. I put it on my personal Instagram. I went to the site last year. And I mean, like any memorial site, it really, really touches you and hits you. The Pulse one in particular really hits you because it's the same building. The building is still there.
Right. It's not like it happened somewhere. And
It's not like when you go to the 9/11 memorial.
Right.
The buildings are gone.
It's a new...
Right?
Right.
So, actually, you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute.
The 9/11 memorial?
Well, memorials in general. Okay. Do you know what's a really pet peeve of mine? And I'm sorry if there's anybody who's listening who's offended. I don't
Memorials
mean this to
are a
offend.
pet peeve?
I don't mean this to offend anyone. When people go to like the 9/11 memorial, and the reason I'm saying the 9/11 memorial is because it's the biggest terrorist attack in the U.S.
All intents and purposes, though, it's a tourist attraction,
and it's the most recent one. And people start posting selfies on their
social.
Instagram or whatever of them like, here I am at the 9/11 memorial. I'm like, oh my god, like
yeah, no, it's one thing to take a picture of the buildings, of the grounds. But it's not the moment to be like,
hey everyone,
like doing duck lips.
It's like, hey everyone. I mean, I've seen people on Instagram kissing like a romantic picture at the 9/11 memorial, and I'm like, are you serious?
See, that's distasteful.
Very. There we go. Yes. I mean, are you serious? Like, are you serious? This is like the final resting place of like 3,500 people or more. I forgot the exact number, and you're like here taking selfies. I mean, come on. I've been to the 9/11 memorial several times. I've taken pictures of it. I've never posted them on my social media because it's like, especially me and my social media, I try to be positive. I don't need that negativity in my social media. And that, at the end of the day, especially again, the 9/11 memorial, that is a tourist attraction. We just have to face it. It is a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Pearl Harbor is.
It is. But at the end of the day, that's the final resting place of 3,500 thousands of people in a horrible way. Yeah. So let's not like also kind of glamorize this in a way. I think the design is beautiful and it's very it's very stoic in terms of the fountains.
It conveys a sense of beauty and
of tranquility and all that. But I mean, come on, people, have a little bit of like taste. Don't be distasteful. But the Pulse one in particular, I went last year, and it's just terrible because it's big enough that they have like, you could tell that the families of the victims have like their own little space. Like the victim that I think about the most, I don't know their names, was the kid who died that he worked at Universal and he was dressed as Harry Potter.
Oh yes, yeah.
He's the one I think about
all the pictures that they showed. Yeah.
So there's like a little space for him that obviously his family probably put up and his friends of like pictures of him, and they have that for most. They have the lady who died, I think, with her son.
Yeah, who had gone out that night.
And it's very moving. It's very, very moving. And again, because the Pulse nightclub one is like a smaller space. It's a corner. It's a corner.
It's a club. It's a little building.
And the building is still there. You look at the building and go, oh my god,
that happened right there.
That happened like in there. Like these guys went in there. Like we would go any night to whatever establishment and boom, literally. So the big thing in that discussion is, should they open up a memorial, or should the owners of the club open up a memorial and a museum, charge people, and potentially capitalize on it? So what are your thoughts?
I actually want to ask, like, a museum of what? You know what I mean? Because it's not, I don't even know how to put this. It's such a small. It's not horrible. It's tragedy, but it's a small scale tragedy. So, for instance, whereas with the 9/11 memorial, you have the girders. You have there's just a lot that you can, for better or worse, create a museum around. What is the museum here really going to be about, other than what seems like a bit of a cash grab? or
Because
generating money to pay back the lawsuits, if you
the
will.
9/11 museum. I see what you're saying. The 9/11 museum, not the memorial. The
Correct,
museum.
the museum, yes.
You know, it has like the fire truck.
Right,
It has the flag,
right.
and you know, it has a lot of artifacts that they discovered from the victims.
notes, the missing signs, everything.
You know, like filing cabinets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know, and the Twin Towers were something that was very iconic.
Correct.
It was very part of our
Have you gone to that
society.
museum? I have not gone.
Yeah, it was part of our society, and that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, obviously you can make a museum and you can have a section on each one of the victims and about them and their family and whatever. But aside from that, like, what are you? Else are you? I mean, because I thought, okay, maybe there could be like a whole section about a whole. A whole part of the museum about like the LGBT,
The struggle,
the trajectory.
Right.
I guess you could have that.
But again, we don't know enough about what their plans are for a museum.
Right. So
I definitely agree with doing a memorial.
Yes.
I think a memorial is in good taste. It's something that if done right, you know, it also gives the families a place to go and mourn.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
You know, that's the most important thing with any memorial, whether it be the Native Memorial, Pulse Memorial, those things that they put on the side of the road when somebody, you know, dies. That it gives the family a place to direct their grief, and that's very important.
Yeah.
You know, so I agree with the memorial. I'd have to hear more about what the museum is,
Right.
To say,
And the museum, I think, would be in a different site
well, I'm surprised they haven't demolished that building.
because I think they don't know what to do with it.
But okay, there's nothing. I mean, what are you gonna do with that building?
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. They don't know what to do with it.
Pero, I mean, again, here's what you.
And
the only thing you can do is demolish it and either build a new building or put a parking lot.
There's like litigation and all that, and also where that building is
still a
at,
crime
it's kind of like weird. It's like a commercial area, but it's not a commercial area. Like I remember I parked in front of somebody's house.
Really?
Yeah, because the Pulse nightclub is on the corner of a block, and that where the club is, it's on like the main strip.
Okay, this sounds kind of like Azúcar, which is here. It's right off of
It's on the main
La
strip.
Treinta y Pico.
But when you turn into the side street, it's
Yeah,
residential.
It's residential. Same thing over here
Yeah.
with Azúcar.
So it's kind of like a weird area, kind of sort of.
Yeah. Okay. No, but I know exactly the type of area you're talking about.
Yeah, like I parked in front of somebody's
Somebody's
house.
house.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, they don't get mad.
I'd be like, I'll be right here. Just let me know. Please don't tow the car.
But it's not a Burger Peace situation. But anyway, yeah,
By the way, anybody who goes to visit DJ at his house, do not park.
that's a story for another day. But anyway, ¿qué tienes tú para mí?
No, I really don't have much this week, to be honest with you. It's just been a very long week at work. So it's one of those weeks where I'm like, I'm just tired.
You're tired?
I'm tired.
Je suis fatigué.
Yes.
Oui.
Yes.
Tú necesitas que alguien te traiga una.
I'm so tired.
Que alguien you have chronic fatigue syndrome like Dorothy.
You know, they played that episode this week. It's like, I can't wash my hair.
So you know what I was watching this week on YouTube? I was watching Que Pasa USA.
Oh.
Because to our listeners who watch Que Pasa USA, you know that when they start putting like the marathons on PBS or whatever,
It's always the same like 4 or 5 episodes.
there's episodes they leave out.
Yeah.
They leave out my favorite episode.
Go ahead.
So my favorite, I have 2 favorite episodes, which are the garage sale
Oh, well, yeah.
and when they go on TV.
Oh, that's the pilot.
No, the
The
pilot,
pilot
is
is
the 15.
Carmencita de 15.
No,
¿verdad?
when they go on the TV, Una Noche con los Peña.
Uh-huh.
Right? I work in the streets.
The number of times that Jose and I say that to each other
But
on a weekly basis.
One of my favorites is when they're going to Spain, when they want to go to Spain.
España Española.
España Española. Castles. And it's so funny because now when you watch this I've seen these episodes like 100 times or more. I've seen it more than 100 times
easily.
per episode. But it's funny because as a kid, I remember there was a scene in that episode when they want to travel to Europe, that they go to the travel agent, that Iggy is like, hey, where do you think I could go snorkeling in Europe? And he goes, Loch Ness. And like, I remember being a kid and not getting it. I'm like, what's Loch Ness? Like, but there's so funny. There's a scene in that episode where the travel episode, when they want to go to Europe, that Marta comes dressed like una
Her
japonesa.
cultural appropriation.
Yeah, her cultural appropriation.
She's
yes.
all geisha out.
She's all geisha out. And she's like, oh. And when she comes in her like geisha outfit, Adela dice, ha llegado el pecado de Hiroshima. No, la venganza. La venganza de Hiroshima.
Doesn't she call her also Madame Butterfly?
No.
There's another
But then
episode.
there's a part that is like, now as an adult, you watch it.
Of course.
And you're like, oh my God, the shade que tira la vieja.
Oh, la vieja was all
Adela.
about...
There's a part que Adela, that they're talking about Europe. And el viejo, Antonio, asks her, oye, Marta, because Marta was talking about how many times she's been to Europe and whatever. Yeah. And he goes, oye, Marta, cuando ha ido a España, ha visto los toros. And Adela goes, niño, como a ella le gustan los cuernos, claro que he visto los toros. And he's like, Adela. And she's like, I had been insulted.
But as a kid, you have no idea what that means.
As a kid, I had no idea. I'm like, oh my God, she just called her a whore. I'm like, the shade que tiraba Adela.
God. Oh, God. Well, actually, we were able to recently meet Pepe Peña.
Yes.
Which was... He was lovely.
He was.
He was absolutely... Have we talked about it on here?
We have not talked about it on the podcast. We had the little Instagram thing.
Yeah, so he's in his 80s now, and he's a painter. And actually, we're actually looking at the piece that was...
Well, we met Manolo Villaverde, not
Yeah,
Pepe
that's
Peña.
true. That's true. Manolo Villaverde, that's right, who played Pepe Peña. And it's funny because you said something that night when we were, we're looking at his pieces and what have you. And you were like, tiene voz ya de, de persona mayor, but every once in a while, you would hear it. And it was that voice, that iconic voice that you grew up, just listening to every day at 3:00 in the afternoon on Channel 2.
And if the podcast gods are good to us,
yes,
we may have him on the show.
May have him on the show.
We're trying to make things happen.
Yes, that's where I think it's, if it was a magic 8 ball, it would say signs point to yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And you thought we got choked up with Maria from Sesame Street.
Yeah, the thing with him is that, I mean, he's done a lot of work. The thing with him is like any actor that is known for a lot of for has that pivotal role.
Correct, that iconic role.
That iconic role. He's known for Pepe Peña, but he's done a lot of work. A lot of people will forget, because it's been a few years already, that he had a major role in Maria Elena and Guadalupe, which were two very huge, enormous soap operas that were based here in Miami.
He was also on the Nickelodeon show, I think, Taina. He played the grandfather.
And now he's like this great, amazing painter, which you own a piece of.
I do. And he paints with watercolors. Let me tell you something. Yo a la gente que pinta con acuarela le tengo tremendo respeto, because that is not easy.
I mean, he's quite the Renaissance man. But I mean, he's definitely one of these people that, like, if we were to have him on the show, I mean, we spoke to him that night.
So nice.
He was lovely, and that's somebody that we really did grow up watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
like I feel like in some weird way he's almost like
family.
Yeah, it's like he's some type of weird surrogate grandparent or something.
Yeah.
And it's just, and again, it's funny because, when we watched the show, he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's how he's frozen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to see him as like my grandparents' age, it's like, oh, you don't just exist ahí in WPBT? With the ding, ding, the little whatever, the opening. I still think that's my mother in the opening.
Coming out of Miami High?
Coming out of Miami High. I still think that's my mother in the opening.
She didn't even know it.
That's probably some stock footage that they took. And do you think that Capaz USA had money to go film? No, eso fue stock footage que estaba saliendo mi mamá un día ahí de high school.
And the timing would have been right.
Yeah, the timing was... Listen, it all syncs up. So that's my mother. We'll never have an answer, but that's my mother.
She's in the opening credits of one of the most iconic shows in Cuban American history.
Yeah, and we'll just never know. We'll never know the real answer to that. Because I guarantee that if I show that to her, I'll be like, mami, eso no se parece a ti. She'll be like, ay, Mike, que se va a parecer a mí. Si en ese entonces yo pesaba más que... it'll be some type of like, or I never owned those pants or something.
Matching hats, Marvin. That's from the...
No, we are Cuban.
We are Cuban.
the tchotchkes.
Yeah. But we've said it before. That the thing with that show is that...
Lightning in a bottle.
It was lightning in a bottle. It captured a people, a place, and a time.
Yeah.
That show 10 years later, it was, I mean, obviously we still loved it, but it was a different Miami. It was a different culture.
Everything.
It captured everything perfectly.
Yeah.
That's why we relate to it because it was of our time. But it was like their family was like our family. It was.
Have you had anybody come like recently in your family?
Yes, my cousins that you know.
Let me finish the sentence. Who may have watched the show, or you may have shown them the show, or been like, oh, and they don't get it, right?
They're not gonna get it.
But they've never seen it. That you know of.
But I mean, just think about it. The show's in the 70s.
Right.
Number one.
Hey. 70s was a good time.
But that's it. I mean,
70s.
that's it. Somebody who's 25 now is not going to care for a show of the 70s. They're not. It's of a Miami that's completely bygone.
Yeah, that's true. That's not the same.
The Miami doesn't exist anymore. The Miami from the 70s and 80s that we grew up in, that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. And it's of a clash of a
culture clash.
A culture clash that doesn't exist anymore either. Because those, like take, for example, in Que Pasa USA, something as funny and mundane as The American Neighbor.
Yeah,
right.
Not really...
Who was always had a problem with the rooster and had a problem with the
right.
people parking in front. Now, the American Neighbor doesn't exist anymore.
Well, she does, but she's just criticizing Air Force people.
Exactly.
Right. She's graduated from the rooster.
The American Neighbor doesn't really exist.
No,
anymore.
yeah, ya está más acclimated.
Yeah, and speaking of racism,
that's
the show where they meet, where Carmen hooks up with her computer friend who's black. Let me tell you something. Powell. His last name
Jerome?
is Powell. No.
Tyrone?
No.
It's a black name without being a black name.
Oh my God! What is it? Whatever.
It's going to kill me.
His name. It's hilarious. That episode is hilarious. It's funny because you look at it now and I'm like, oh my God, it was so racist.
But that was the culture clash.
It was so terrible. But do you remember they remove everything from the living room? It's so horrible.
La vieja.
And she's like, Mama, what are you doing?
Okay, it is horrible, but it's true. I mean, that's exactly what would happen even today, I think.
But then, do you remember what happened in later that episode? The episode with the black guy?
Where
when your friend
Manolito was
when he comes in and he goes, I'm not black, I'm Cuban.
Like,
and the American black guy's like, wait, you like him? He's blacker than I am.
Damn it. It's killing me.
It's
now,
like this like
The
ridiculousness
name of the character.
We'll look it up later.
No, I'm literally looking it up right now as I'm talking to you because it's going to bother me.
But yeah, that show captured a place in time that it
doesn't exist, and there's something sad about that. But
well, in some aspects, it's good because the whole racism aspect
fine,
of that episode.
Yes, okay. No. But I mean that it's not as universal as it was for a while there. Because again, by the time we came to that show, I mean, también it's not like that show. Charles was his name. It's not like when we were watching Charles Powell. It's not like when we were watching that show, we were old enough to experience it in the 70s. You know what I mean? Like when we were watching that show, it was the 80s.
Well,
already.
no, but in the 80s, it was still.
That's what I'm saying. But we grew up in a time where things took longer to change. Like cultural shifts weren't as quick as they are now.
Yeah, because when we were growing up. Yeah, because that show, I mean, some of those episodes came out before we were born.
Right.
So when we started watching that show in the mid to late 80s,
let's say it was
we were
10
children,
years.
But that was still a reality.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like now things change so quickly that something 10 years ago might seem nostalgic.
Now that we were talking about racism, I would compare that episode in specific, which is like kind of racist, I would compare it to like Archie Bunker racism.
Okay.
Because they laughed at the ignorance.
Correct. Yeah,
Right?
it wasn't supposed to be emulated.
Right. They laughed at the ignorance.
at the ridiculousness of
They
it.
pinpointed how ignorant they were
For
being.
God's sake, guardaron el gallo.
Yeah, guardaron el
Guardaron el
gallo.
gallo.
And she's
¿Qué
like,
iba a hacer el tipo ese con
and
el
she was
gallo?
like yelling at her, "Mama, put everything back." They
all
called
he
it
wanted
out.
was
They called it out
juice.
in humor.
Right.
Which humor is a wonderful thing. But
It
anyway,
goes a long way.
well, I'm thirsty.
I'm very thirsty.
You go first.
You want me to go first?
We have reached the last soda.
It's the last soda. It's the boom splat. No, I don't know. You don't know where that's from, do you?
No.
That is a song from Into the Woods.
Okay.
It's a musical, but that's not getting my last soda today. My last soda is actually going to somebody who we've given the last soda to before. Mm-hmm. My last soda is going to a friend of ours, Alex Segura.
Oh, Alex, it was a new book.
His new book just came out this week, Miami Midnight. It's the 5th and final in the Pete Fernandez mystery series. And so for those of you who remember way back when, Alex was actually one of our first guests. Alex Segura was one of our first guests, and I've actually been reading all of his books. We've gone to all his book signings, whether they're here at Books and Books in Coral Gables, or when I was living up in New York, I went to his book signings there. And I just think it's great. Who would have thunk it? Alex, I think he's the VP now of Archie Comics marketing. 5 books. I mean, that's something to really friggin' be proud of. So I know he's going to be coming down here to promote the book at some point this year. Hopefully we can, grab him, because I know he's a busy guy, but maybe we can grab him for a couple minutes and have a little part deux.
We know it's not going to be a couple of minutes.
Well, we'll corner him at the Miami Book Fair or something, and we won't let him leave out of downtown area. But yeah, just want to give it to Alex. Again, it's, I always say this. Anybody, whether it's you write 1 book, 5 books, you made a short film, you made a podcast, I always respect and encourage and celebrate anybody who's made a thing, because it's very easy to just stand on the sidelines and be like, oh, that's stupid. That book's horrible. That movie was stupid. Your song sucks. But it's like, well, what the fuck have you made? Mm-hmm. What have you created? And so anybody who creates
Content creator.
Yeah, I really think that should be celebrated, because you know what? A lot of people talk a lot of shit about it. Not a lot of people do it.
Exactly.
So, Alex.
And it also helps that he's an awesome guy.
He's just his little girl is so cute.
And we go back.
We do go back.
We go back.
Like babies and pacifiers.
Mm-hmm. No dog, no liar. Your fantasy hot like fire. I'm really waiting for my Mariah Carey vinyl to come in, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so my last soda goes to Aquaman.
To Aquaman?
Jason Momoa.
Okay, because I was like,
it goes
wait.
to Jason Momoa, not Aquaman.
Okay, because I'm like, that's my territory.
Yeah, no. So he is actually doing a great thing. He's part Hawaiian.
Yes. And
he is one of the people who's protesting the building of the telescope over at where he, in Hawaii. They're trying to build a telescope at the foot of Mauna Kea, which is one of the mountains there. And there's this huge, enormous telescope. And the problem is that in building the telescope, it's enormous. I think it would be one of the biggest telescopes in the world. They have to drill into a water supply.
Oh, shit.
Like a natural water supply. And then, screw the environment, right? So, who needs the environment?
Whatever. Oh. We're just living here or whatever.
And he, he's protesting. A lot of people are protesting, but he's one of the celebrities, obviously,
heard about this.
because it's, he's Hawaiian,
Right.
that is really up there protesting against it. And right now, because there's only one road in and one road out, they have successfully blocked.
Oh, wow.
The building of it. But you know what? Again,
Hey, no había otro lugar para poner el telescopio.
I just like you were saying that you give credit to people who create things. I give credit to people who protest and
stand their ground.
Because if you don't believe, if you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything.
Damn right.
And, and that's awesome. And I was reading on it. It's actually been on the news, and I was reading on it, and I kind of like him because he's married to Denise Huxtable.
Es verdad.
So, I mean,
I just love that entire family.
The Huxtables?
Well,
Even
but
Cliff?
But
Cliff's stock has fallen.
Cliff, but not Bill.
You
No,
know-
but I meant the Momoa Bonets.
Oh, the Momoa Bonets.
The Momoa Bonet Kravitzes. Because ahí hay una mezcla de todo mundo.
He's like BFFs with Lenny.
Yeah, they're all like, whatever, let's hang out. And now la otra, la hija, is working with Nicole Kidman, who used to date Lenny Kravitz. And like, it's just all good.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I like the Huxtables, but I have to say, in my defense, Cliff was never my favorite Huxtable. Never.
I don't think he was... I mean, he was the center, obviously, but he wasn't the center.
No, for me,
They gave a lot of the spotlight to the other
to
characters.
me, you know who my favorite was?
Vanessa.
No, Chico. It was Claire.
She was great.
She was great. And what's our favorite episode?
I don't know what it's called.
The Big Fun.
Is it that what it's called? The name of the episode?
I don't know the name of the episode.
Oh, okay, but
But it's the episode where Vanessa careens in the middle of the night to Baltimore.
the big fun with the wretched.
No, she doesn't go to Baltimore. She does go to
she does.
Baltimore.
She goes to Baltimore,
Maryland. to
It's
have
a big fun with the
wretched.
singing
Yeah.
the wretched songs.
And I like when she's like, "Isn't it true that you went to go have the big fun?"
Now tell me, Vanessa, how is it that you did not come to have the big fun?
But you know what also came out of that episode?
great episode.
And the other day you were there live when it happened. When Tristan, Tristan, like any 5-year-old, goes through stages.
Yeah. They
And
have
the
their
other
moments.
the other day Ish was there when Tristan was going through some shit, and I look at him and I go, "Do you know what stage we're in now, Ishmael? We're in rage. We're in rage." So anyway, but yeah, so Jason Momoa, Denise Huxtable's husband.
I'm telling you, todo mundo ahí vive super cool. It's wonderful.
Why not?
No, listen, I'm all for it.
Listen, you have great hair.
Listen, he has great hair, and Lenny Kravitz is probably like 80, and he still looks 30. I mean, because Lenny Kravitz is not as young as he
in his
looks.
50s.
He's in his 50s, and like if somebody's tomorrow Lenny Kravitz is like 32, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Because the thing with him is that he's also like a cool guy.
timelessly cool.
Yeah,
Like,
he's so cool. Like
He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna wear a feather boa now. That's just
no, I'm gonna wear a comforter outside.
I'm gonna wear that giant comforter, and but
and wears that as a scarf.
yeah, and my pants are just gonna not have
And I'm totally
belt
gonna
loops,
rock it.
and everybody's gonna be like, wow,
look at him.
look at that.
But you know what? Okay,
And
seriously.
yet, has he ever been invited to the Met Gala?
Seriously,
I don't think so.
seriously. Other people would wear what he's wearing, and you and I would be the first one to be like, "Oh,
Qué
look at
ridículo.
them! Look at them trying to be different,
Trying to get the attention.
But Lenny
Uh-huh.
Kravitz wears it, and it's like, oh, because he's Lenny Kravitz, he could wear whatever the hell.
Yeah,
he
you
wants.
just get a free pass for being Lenny Kravitz. You do.
He's never been to the Met Gala.
I'm saying, I don't know.
I feel that he wears the Met Gala theme every day.
This is what I'm saying.
Themes.
Maybe that's why Anna Wintour is just like, steal my fucking thunder.
His daily life is a Met Gala.
That's great. My daily life is
Is a Met Gala.
That should be the title of his autobiography.
My daily life.
My
is
daily
a Met
life is a
Gala.
Met Gala.
Well, on that note,
I don't know why I had to look this up, but Felicia Rashad, growing up, her family moved to Mexico, and that's why she speaks Spanish so fluently.
so in that episode where she speaks,
she speaks Spanish a couple times in the show, and I was always like, well, I mean, she learned Spanish, but yes,
there we go.
she lived in Mexico.
That's like in Que Pasa You Say, Adela was lived in Tampa.
She was born,
or born in Tampa, yeah.
Yeah.
So the episode where she was speaking perfect English,
It was mind-boggling as a child.
I was like, how do they do that?
Mind-boggling.
That dubbing is amazing.
Fucking brilliant. Like, her lips are all synced up.
Anyway, on that note, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned.
Yes.
That was episode 76. And as always, we hope you grab a pastelito, croqueta, and a jupiña. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. And I'm always slacking on this, but don't forget we are part of the Geek Pro Network. So check out any of our fellow podcasts, Mamas and Merlot, who's going to be having their first live recording soon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Mount Geekmore, Woo Bro. Also, don't forget, guys, to check us out if you're on iTunes. Leave us a rating. It helps us show up in the search when people are searching for cool new podcasts. And again, if you hear us on Spotify, subscribe. Just do all that fun stuff so that we can get more exposure. Because quite frankly, we like the fact that a lot of you were listening. Especially over the weekend, we had a surge in Cliffside Park in New Jersey, and I don't know why that was about. But hi, Cliffside Park.
New Jersey. New Jersey, listen, a lot of people want New York, but New Jersey, you really are the owners of the Statue of Liberty.
It's true. The only reason Madonna didn't write that song is because she couldn't figure out how to rhyme Jersey to anything.
Well, but was she able to do it with New York?
Dork.
Results may vary.
Exactly.
And that should be our outro song.
That's exactly.